did. You came up to me in the diner. You're like, you need to come do a shoot with me.
That's right.
Don't you remember?
Tell everybody how we met and how this came to be.
So I used to be a waitress at this diner right down the street, and he would come in to eat all the time. And he came up to me and he's like, I just have to tell you, you're absolutely gorgeous, and I'm a photographer, and this is where it is. I'm like, oh, it's right down the street. And I'm like, I've heard of you, because I've heard of your photos. I've seen them on Facebook or Instagram. And so I knew it was legit. I didn't think it was like some creepy guy. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go do a photo shoot because I feel like she looks very empowered, and I want to feel like that too.
The point of this is ask. Just ask. You never know.
It's true. Yeah.
Now get back
Oh my
over
gosh,
there.
do you know how long ago that was?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Like
Oh
5
my
years,
God,
at
yeah.
least 5 years.
Yep. Okay, this shoot is about Danielle, but I want to get to that just in 2 seconds here. I just want to say this Sigma 65 f2 DGDN lens, I'm making it sound like an ad, it's not. This is freaking fabulous. I am so impressed with Sigma at these times. And here's the thing, this lens on its own, when I zoomed in a little bit, I was shocked. The sharpness is fantastic. I love the handling of this lens on this body. But then I switched over to the 35, and I think it was a price point thing versus a quality thing. There's nothing wrong with this Leica 35 Summicron. It's not the Apple Summicron, it's just the Summicron. There's nothing wrong with it at all. But when I saw what this was producing, maybe this seemed a little because of the price of this and what it was producing versus $2,100, and that's all I'm going to say. It just amazes me. Anyway, and then this came in, which I can't wait to shoot with. Last night when I got it in, I opened the box, I put it on my camera at home while I'm sitting watching TV. It was dark. I had a 15-watt bulb behind me, and I had the TV on, and I focused to the dark area of the room, and it just worked. It just worked. It's fast focusing. It's really well made. I love the action on everything. I'm sure people have bitched about everything on this, but it's really a beautiful, beautiful lens. Cannot wait to shoot with this and share it with you. Love this thing. And at $1,400 or $1,500, love it, love it. No, I'm not sponsored. Anyway, the shoot with Danielle, this is the second time we did meet in a diner 5 years ago. I gave her my card. Yeah, it took 5 years, but she's still a client now. She had my card. She called me when she was ready, and boom, now I have a new client, and she's wonderful to work with. You have to ask. Just ask people, and believe it or not, a lot of them will end up coming to you. But if you don't ask, you'll never know. And I know it's hard. It is, but just smile, say your name, give them your card, saying, hey, listen, if you ever want to shoot, I'd love to work with you. Hand him your card and walk away. It's that simple. Anyway, let's get to the shoot. If you have any questions, leave them below. And thanks for watching as always.
Well, this gets even weirder because I did meet her in a diner and asked her to shoot, and that was almost 5 years ago. And it took her 5 years, 4 years and 6 months to get it together to come to me. But she finally did, and this is 6 months later. But we find out, we were texting last night, and we find out that we shot together almost 14 years ago, or a little over 14 years ago. It was her and a friend, and I was shooting for dresses or something. I can't remember what it was. All we have is screenshots because, she found them. And neither of us remembered it because, we're both old. So we didn't remember. Great card. Make sure you shoot great card. It is so worth the time and effort. Putting the great card throughout this lighting setup, and then if you do another lighting setup, do another gray card and put it through that lighting setup. It'll save you so much time in post, and it makes the uniformity of color balance so much easier when you're editing. Trust me on this. Get a white or a gray card, get a decent one and use it. It will come in handy, and take a couple shots of it. The first couple times you do it, you may get it wrong. You may, have too much light on it, too little light on it. Just take a couple angles and get that gray card done. You'll thank me later. Now, these things I talk throughout, to relax the subject. And, sometimes they become a therapy session. And believe me, listen, let them talk and let them discuss their journey to where they're at now. It helps so much, and it'll mean a lot to them. And trust me, it'll mean a lot to you as well, because you get to know the person.
Okay. So remember angles in this one as well. Like you got to remember your angles but I don't want you completely twisted. There you go. Thank you.
So I give instructions like that constantly, not telling them how to pose, but why to pose in different directions. Body away from the light, head towards the light, that kind of stuff. Just as reminders, relax the jaw. All the things you need to say, but just friendly reminders as you go. And like I said, I don't pose like, Barbie doll kind of stuff. There's nothing wrong with that. Don't get me wrong. But sometimes just watching and standing back and looking, you're going to get your poses, and they're going to do it for you once they're comfortable enough to move. So let them be comfortable enough to move. And again, like I was saying, let them talk and listen. For God's sake, listen to what they say. You'll get to know them better. You'll get to know their personality. You'll get to know what they like, what they don't like, and it'll help with the shoot.
Too. I've grown so much in that time, even if,
Yeah. Oh my God. You
it's
had
only
to.
been, what, 6 months or something?
Yeah.
Months? Like, I feel like my whole life has really, I've done a lot of healing. I've done a lot of like self-work, inner work, and so like, I feel like I'm so comfortable with myself now. I don't care about like what I eat, like all these things that like girls care about when they're young. I wish I could tell my younger self, like, Stop caring about what everybody thinks.
Doesn't fucking matter.
Because all these things you hate about yourself, you are going to love about yourself.
Now, just remember this. When something happens and you have to go, oh shit, I'm really nervous about this, or this, it doesn't matter.
Right.
Like it doesn't. In 3 days, in 3 weeks, it's going to be gone.
Right. Right.
Now back up and look good again. I'm getting up close.
Oh, wait, am I?
So, yeah, just listen. Let them discuss things, let them vent, let them talk. You're going to get to know the person, and that is going to give you a really great idea of what they want in their photos and what they're proud of. I just had to zoom in on this because that's that 65mm lens. I'm just so impressed with that thing. Kudos to Sigma. These lenses, the design, the function, the glass, everything is spectacular, and I really have no complaints. I want to get the Apo just to compare the damn things for myself, because I can't imagine it getting any better than this 65. She wanted to do a quick product shot. She loves this drink. My daughter drinks this drink all the time. She watches her on TikTok. So anyway, we, got this really quick because she loves the drink. Getting back to the shoot. I apologize. So yeah. And believe me, like these people are around everywhere. You just have to ask. Take 2 seconds and say, hey, my name is so-and-so. I'm a photographer. I'd love to shoot you.
From the day I saw you, I knew.
You did. You came up to me in the diner. You're like, you need to come do a shoot with me.
That's right.
Don't you remember?
Tell everybody how we met and how this came to be.
So I used to be a waitress at this diner right down the street, and he would come in to eat all the time. And he came up to me and he's like, I just have to tell you, you're absolutely gorgeous, and I'm a photographer, and this is where it is. I'm like, oh, it's right down the street. And I'm like, I've heard of you, because I've heard of your photos. I've seen them on Facebook or Instagram, and so I knew it was legit. I didn't think it was like some creepy guy.
Okay.
And I was like, you know what? I'm going to go do a photo shoot because I feel like she looks very empowered, and I want to feel like that too.
The point of this is ask. Just ask. You never know.
It's true. Yeah.
Now get back
Oh my
over
gosh,
there.
do you know how long ago that was?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Like
Oh
5
my
years,
God, yeah.
almost 5 years.
Yep. I can't believe it took you 5 years to say yes to me.
So anyway, the shoot was a blast, and this box, I'm surprised how much I'm using it. Because it is big. It's cumbersome to move around. I don't have a wheeled stand that will hold that. I just have that one wheeled stand from the newer that I use for the little lights, and I love that. But this thing moves so easily, sways so easily. Now that softbox in the corner, that strip light, that is so heavy that when I put it on the B1X, that actually pulls the B1X down, and that has a pretty solid ratchet thing on it, and it dips a little bit, which shocked me. So I have to come up with do something with that. Maybe it'll work better on the D2, which I'm using now, and then I'll use the B1X up front. I don't know. And it could just be that the B1X ratchet is a little bit worn down. But anyway, so this was the final outfit of the shoot. I moved in close. I switched to the 35mm lens. Again, this is a fabulous lens. There is nothing wrong with it whatsoever. It's sharp. It's great. It's just the thought process of, wow, this is like, $2,000, and that Sigma is $629, something like that. And it does such an amazing job. So, maybe that's where that's coming into play.